about that today.
Shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I would like to give all honor and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahushua, Bahasham, Hakodash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone. Rule well, been a great example to his younger brothers in the truth and peace and blessing to the hopeful elect. And I'm going to read this before I get into it. This is the book of Malachi, chapter 1 and verse 1. It say, the burden of the word of the Lord to Israel by Malachi. Verse 2. It say, I have loved you, saith the Lord. Yet ye say, wherein hast thou loved us? Was not Esau Jacob's brother, saith the Lord? Yet I loved Jacob, and I hated Esau, and have laid his mountains and his heritage waste for the dragons of the wilderness. Verse 4, whereas Edom saith, we are impoverished, but we will return and build the desolate places. Thus saith the Lord of hosts, they shall build, but I will throw down, and they shall call them the borders of wickedness, and the people against whom, and the people, not the person, not the man, the people against whom the Lord have indignation forever. Now this guy is going into uh uh Rothschild, red shield of Edom, going into that name Rothschild, and I guess he a Christian or whatever. But at the end of the day, you can't go into, you can't link the Rothschilds up to the Edomites. You gotta, I mean, you definitely can. But what I'm saying is, you can't just bring this information out and then just act like you so-called white people are not the biblical Edomites just because the Rothschilds and these different international banking families, just because they hold the money, that don't mean that the rest of you Edomites gonna get away scot free because y'all ain't, you know, got the wealth and things of that nature. You just lost on this go round, and you getting ready to go into captivity with uh uh with the shield of Edom, with the Rothschilds and the Rockefellers. See the thing about the Rothschilds and Rockefellers, they just that chosen family. They that one of them top families, if not the top family of Edom. You know, and they didn't share the wealth, and they that chief tribe of Amalek, the least of the flock. The grand. Well, I think he was a grandson of one of the men, one of the dukes of Edom. I don't think he was a direct son. He was one of the grandsons or something like that. I could be mistaken. We may go into that later. But I just wanted to read that before we started because you white people and this guy, he could be a Jake. You never know, you know. But he could be an Edomite as well. He a Christian, so he through regardless. You know, but he he just going into rich side. Now I think somebody put this up, but it ended up popping up on my feed some kind of way. But everybody, the Esau gonna do something soon, and the next thing happen, it ain't gonna shake back. Esau cooking up for that last hurrah right about now. You know, on what he gonna do. It's gonna happen this year, possibly, highly likely, or is they gonna drag it out another year or two? You know, Lord willing, they go ahead and do their thing this year. You know, but something gonna happen, and the next thing that happen ain't gonna go back to normal. The next catastrophic event ain't gonna go back to normal. They shut this bitch down again, it's over with. As far as like how they did 2020, and that's what we waiting for. Any day now, like tomorrow, something crazy can happen. We don't know. Any day now, literally, you know, any moment, all hell can start breaking loose. And we just hope and pray that Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai is with us, you know. Any moment he can make that chip mandatory. Any moment, any you know, any day. That's why, like, we always say, start with the apostles and elders on down, stay ready so you ain't gotta get ready. You know, to the best of your ability. Stay locked into the word, believing, trusting in the Lord, praying, and that's pretty much it. Let me play some of this. Like, let me pull this up. I'm gonna just have this minimized because I guess let me
Hey,
start.
we've kind of been on a series after the Epstein files release on Epstein and the end times and the synagogue of Satan. And this is a continuation of that series where we'll be discussing these connections. In fact, if you don't know this, in the Epstein emails, Epstein wrote Peter Thiel, who is the founder of Palantir, the surveillance company that's going to play a major role here in these last days. And he said, as you probably know, I represent the Rothschilds.
Yeah, and all you so-called small headers, y'all are Amalek, the least of the flock, and these Amalekites, they are the ones who are ruling the earth. They ruling the whole world, you know, under the guise of being Jewish, and they protect it. They highly protect it, you know. But these are the Edomites, and the Amalekites are just one family of Edom. You regular redneck crackers who hate niggas over here, y'all Edomites too, man. You fucking uh, uh, British Edomites, you Australian Edomites, you Russian Edomites, Turkish. I mean, which I know some of them Edomites too, but not Turkey. But you Spanish, Spain Edomites, Portugal Edomites. You know, it's Edomites scattered all throughout the earth, and they ruling. They the ones with these major military. You French Edomites. But let's play some of this. Get a couple precepts as he talk.
And that's a very key piece of information, because what that means is there is a hierarchy to this synagogue of Satan and to these group of people who are serving the devil here on earth and creating a vast network, right? How is the Antichrist going to obtain control?
And there's no such thing as one antichrist. Just like it's just a mystical nigga floating in a sacred hidden temple and he controlling everything. No, let's get that precept in the New Testament proving that it's all in and how you say and see I can't spell word fuck. I'm like Pastor. I cannot spell. Barely can read. This the book of First John chapter 2 and verse 18 and say, little children, it is the last time, and as ye have heard that Antichrist shall come, even now, are there many antichrists, whereby we know that it is the last time. And it was 2,000 years ago. That was when the last time began. But there's many antichrists. Everybody, majority of the people you see and know are antichrist, man. Because if you go to telling them about the scriptures, talking to them about, they go, because all antichrist mean is you're against the Lord and his ways. Ultimately, because you can say all you want. I believe in Jesus, and I believe in God, and all this and that. But if you like was say, if you want to get rid of nigga, go to talking about the scriptures, man. You know, the truth, the truth of the scriptures, not that fake Jesus plantation Christianity talk. No, go to prophesying to a nigga. They'll leave you the fuck alone. How the America gonna get destroyed? They'll get out your face. Nah, but for real, if you ever, when you younger and you got that zeal, you trying to tell everybody we the Hebrew Israelites, we Yashala, you know, nigga, goddamn, you room full, goddamn, next thing you know, everybody gone, man. You talking to yourself, you know. But we in the day and age where there's many antichrists. You know, all these people around us are antichrist. Why? Because they don't follow after the ways of Yahweh Shem Yahweh. They don't keep the law, statutes, and commandments. You know, they don't keep no high holy days. They don't call upon the name of the Lord. They don't believe in the gospel. They don't believe in the truth. So they're antichrist. This whole earth is full of antichrist. Then they got them celebrate all these wicked holiday, pagan, demonic, idol worshiping holidays that was given to them by the enemy and Satan worshippers, witches and warlocks, you know. And this is the culture of the earth. Everybody celebrate Christmas. You know, everybody celebrate Halloween. Even the fucking pastors. These false pastors, man. Even your pastor is an antichrist, man. These church, you know, motherfucker had Easter Bunny. All these people, that's antichrist behavior, man. Why? Because it's not linked to the truth of the scriptures, man. It's a lie, and you people believe the lie.
Of such a large portion of the earth? Well, there's a lot of groundwork that has to be done in advance. The surname Rothschild originates from German meaning red shield. Now, most people know that. Okay, most people realize that the Rothschilds are Ashkenazis, they're German Jews, and that their last name means red shield. They've been around for a long time. They played a major.
Yeah, and you know, Edom mean red. You know, um, I don't, I don't want something like that.
Role in the facilitation and founding of the current modern state of Israel. And we're going to talk about that today. But here's the part that people don't know, and we're going to make a lot of connections. So today's sermon is really going to cover not just the Rothschild family, but this long-term connection from Edom all the way to the Antichrist in the last days. And I want you guys to see these key connections. When it's translated into Hebrew, based on its etymological meaning, it corresponds to Magen Edom. Okay, what do I mean by that? The term Rothschild, that family name, means Magen Edom in Hebrew. Now, some people say it means red shield in Hebrew as well. Well, the problem with that is that the word for red and the word for Edom in Hebrew is the exact same word. Okay? The exact same word. And so Magen Edom would be translated into English, shield of Edom, or the shield of the Edomites.
Yeah, and I went on this guy page and I said, so what you saying that the damn how I say it, the predominant I asked him, so you saying the white people are predominantly Edomites? He ain't gonna never answer that, you know. Which we know every so-called white person we see is not an Edomite. And this dude, he could be a Jake. You know, we don't know. We don't know who. We can't look at you and say, "Oh, we can," but we can't. You know, we can read your spirit. You know, but we can't for sure guarantee. Oh, that's a Edomite. No, you could just be a lost Israelite. You know.
And so the Rothschild family are the shield of the Edomites. Now, that's going to be significant as we dive into this, but if you watched my sermon, Epstein and the Canaanites, you might already be making some connections. In 1917, Lionel Walter Rothschild was
Yeah, and his well, let me
the
see.
recipient of the Balfour Declaration
And the Balfour Declaration just going to them taking hold of the land, and that's why I got this.
from Britain. This is a pretty famous document, which stated His Majesty's government view with favor the establishment in Palestine of a national home for the Jewish people.
And we all know that Jewish mean pertaining to. But let's get this precept. This the book of Ezekiel chapter 36. This prophecy, future prophecy, what he just read. 36 and verse 5, it say, Therefore thus saith the Lord, surely in the fire of my jealousy have I spoken against the residue of the heathen, and all Idumea. What we just read in Malachi, Jacob have I loved and Esau have I hated, and have laid his mountain inheritance way for the dragons in the wilderness, and the people against whom I will have indignation forever. So my boy, Rich, whatever tied some shit, you better hope you are not an Edomite, man. You know, because you want to, go into this Rothschild. Hey, you gotta stop and say, damn, we, you know, those are our people. Just because they, so called call themselves Jewish, we are the same people. And these Edomites, they know that. When these Edomites here breaking down the scriptures, they be cut in the spirit and they understand. Nah, nigga, they just full of shit. But these Edomites, they understand what we telling them, man. They get it, but they want to play stupid and shit. Them motherfuckers know what we saying, right, and it makes sense when we breaking it down to them. That's why they get to turning red. Be ready to leave. Niggas be getting cut too, but them Edomites be the Edomites be feeling it, man, and it makes sense because they, our people through the Negro, Latino, Native Americans, they just lost in the South. These Edomites got a form of common sense. You know, they ain't dumbed down like niggas dumbed down. But it say surely in the fire of my jealousy have I spoken against the residue of the heathen, and against all Idumea, all the Edomites, which have appointed my lands into their possession with the joy of all their heart, with despiteful minds, and cast it out as a prey. Yeah, these devils by the Balfour Declaration, uh, 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 which have appointed my lands, they appointed the Lord's land into their possession with all the joy of their heart. you know, through the Balfour Declaration.
So the British government tells the Rothschild family, we support you in founding a Jewish nation. In other words, in creating a new Israel. The Rothschilds have been instrumental in creating the modern nation called Israel. And today we're going to learn more about who the Edomites are and what is prophesied about them in the last days.
Now this video an hour long, and I didn't see because he said who the Edomites are. I might watch a little more of just to see where he go with it, because he might go that way with it. But if he don't go and say so-called white people are the Edomites, then you're being unsincere, my guy. Because the so-called white people are the Edomites. You can't separate American white people from the small hats. You can't separate the small hats from the Russians and the Germans and all y'all the fucking same, man. All y'all Caucasian, you know. The so-called white people are the Edomites, man, for the most part. Now you got Israelites scattered amongst uh uh the so-called white people, and you got Edomites scattered through so-called Israelites, so-called black people, Negroes, Latinos, and Native American, not just black people, because Israelites are the so-called blacks, Hispanics, uh, Latino, and Native American, Indians, Seminole Indians, the tribes, the indigenous peoples of America.
So if you watched Epstein and the Canaanites, you learned about the Canaanites and how the DNA of the modern Ashkenazi is actually Canaanite DNA. And if you understand the Edomites are Esau mixing with the Canaanites. And we're going to go over that again. But I want you to understand something. That prophecy has already prophesied all the things that you're seeing happen.
Yeah, and that you Edomites are more African than we is. You know, we ain't African at all. You motherfuckers African, man. You motherfuckers got some goddamn ham in you, man. Cause we were commanded not to deal with the Canaanite. What Esau bitch ass when he did. Y'all forefather is a Canaanite, man. You wouldn't got a Canaanite. Disobeyed the Lord. Rebelled against the Lord. The word of the Lord. Not to deal with the Canaanites. This nigga wouldn't have got a couple Canaanite wives, if I ain't mistaken.
The problem is a lot of people fell for and were duped by this prophetic understanding of Israel being founded as a nation called the fig leaf generation. So the fig leaf generation was whoever saw Israel become a nation, they would see the return of the Messiah. But that's not actually what Matthew 24 or any fig leaf passage talks about at all. In fact, when the prophecies talk about Israel coming back and being a nation, it's simultaneous with the return of the Messiah, not in it.
Yep. And that's a good point. According to prophecy, according to what the Bible actually say, that the Israelites will not be in that land for the most part. Like they say, this the book of Luke chapter 21 and verse 24. It say, and they shall fall by the edge of the sword and shall be led away captive into all nations. Where were the so-called small heads led away captive into all nations? Fucking never, man. Never have you tiny cap, you bottle cap wearing bastard led away captive, man, into all nations. That only happened to so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. That happened to us, man. And then you got niggas. Why this matter? Why that matter? Bitch, cause we the ones going through it. What the fuck you mean why it matter? That's why we can't wait through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shem Yahushua for Esau to make his move, and you niggas finna get slaughtered, man, and it's gonna be like a thief. Cause niggas ain't even paying attention that any day now, all hell can break loose. Niggas, it's gonna catch a nigga so off guard. And we just gonna flow in the spirit. We gonna be like water, man. When all hell break loose, we gonna take the shape of all hell. Let me stop. We want to take shape in whatever it go in. It adapt, so to speak. It say led away captive, and they fell by the sword, the Israelites, and shall be led away captive into all nations. And Jerusalem, the land, shall be trodden down by the Gentiles, and not just so-called Edomites, but those damn uh 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 wild boars. Let me stop. The Ishmaelites and Edom. Well, I'm pretty sure it's just Ishmaelites. The Palestinians. They part of the heathens that's trying. They part of the Gentiles trotting our land down because they don't belong there either. You know, that's our land, man. No other nation should be there, and you stay there. The Lord gonna get you up out the way. It say, "In Jerusalem shall be trodden down of the Gentiles until the time of the Gentiles be fulfilled." Yeah, and the time of the Gentiles is fulfilled. We just wait for it to play out. Cause this nigga, we in the last seconds, of the last days. This place ain't got another 20, 30 years. You fucking out your goddamn mind, man. This shit already too fucking wicked. We need to be delivered. There ain't gonna be no flesh to be saved. You know, if these kids that's growing up now listen to NBA YoungBoy and these hoes, rapping hoes, oh my goodness, these new niggas after NBA. Look, man, if these little kids grow up, ain't no telling, man, it's gonna be too fucked up. This a wicked ass world, man. And black culture is Edomite culture. You niggas live like Edomites. You move like Edomites. That nigga shit is Edomite shit. That behavior, that street culture, and all this old dumb, that's Edomite. That shit is wickedness.
Advance. In fact, there are people occupying Jerusalem and Israel in advance of the.
And they don't supposed to be there. Luke 21. Jerusalem shall be trodden down by the Gentiles until the time of the Gentiles be fulfilled. And I just gonna play the first little piece. I ain't gonna make this too long because this an hour long video. I wonder who he gonna say the Edomites is, so I might watch some more of it and see if he gonna say so-called white people, because you can't just put it on the small hats, man. All y'all motherfuckers the same. It was a few dukes of Edom. It wasn't just Amalek, and then that was the end of the Edomites. No, y'all been multiplying throughout the earth, man, and wickedness have been spreaded.
Second coming of the Messiah that are driven out by the Messiah. In other words, the Messiah doesn't come to his own people in Israel. There is a hostile group in Israel, proven by the fact that the Antichrist is reigning in the temple. These are basic end times understandings that we got duped by because of, the Left Behind series and some other bad interpretations of the last days. And so I want you to understand as we dive into this sermon, that by the end of this sermon, I hope you have an even better understanding of the last days than you've ever had, that we get rid of a lot of the bad theology that's out there, and that you really understand who these people are that are occupying the nation we are currently calling Israel, and understand this Rothschild family and how they tie into it as well, because their name is Shield of Edom. Let's go to Isaiah 46, verses 9 and 10. This is our opening passage. I'm using the Literal Word app. This is a free app on the App Store for both iPhone and Android, and I love it because it has the concordance and lexicon built in. If you hold down a word, it'll bring it up in either Hebrew or Greek, and it also give you definitions, and it also give you all the verses, so the concordance, all the verses that are using that word, and then it will also give you any other passages. If you tap on a passage, if there are related passages, it'll pull those up in the concordance. So really cool, love it. Okay, Isaiah 46, verse 9. Remember the former things long past, for I am God and there is no other. I am God and there is no one like me. Okay, the first thing I want to point out in verse 9 is remember the former things long past. So in order to understand the last days, you need to go back to the beginning. And he actually says that in the next verse. Look at this, verse 10. Declaring the end from the beginning, and from ancient times things which have not been done, saying, my purpose will be established, and I will accomplish all my good pleasure. So God is telling us he wants us to remember the former things, and that he has declared the end from the beginning. In other words, there is a continuity between the very beginning, the very first time we encounter Satan, and the very last time we encounter Satan. And that we aren't living, part of the deception today is that we're living in some kind of unbiblical time period where we're outside of the Bible story.
Yeah, and that's what Christianity, the world believing a lot. And look, man, everything that's going on in the earth and being taught and all the deception, it came from you Edomites, man. Y'all through Christianity used that to distort the gospel, and confuse every goddamn body, and made up this false religion called Christianity that stemmed from Roman Catholicism, man. You know, or well, Christianity, which is Roman Catholicism, you know. But it say now these are the generations of Esau, who is Edom, which Esau Edom is a nation of people that are currently inhabiting and ruling the planet Earth, which also called white people. White people rule the earth. Now, are there levels to success amongst so-called Edomites? Hell to the motherfucker, yeah. But white people are ruling. It's just a chief family ruling over all the rest of the world. And that go to show that your daddy is the devil, man. But Lord willing, I don't forget that precept. I'm gonna get it, because he had no pity upon his own. It say now these are the generations of Esau, who is Edom. It say Esau took his wives of the Canaan of Canaan of the daughters of Canaan, which we were commanded. Jacob and Esau commanded not to deal with those women. It say Adah, the daughter of Elon the Hittite, and Holabama, however you say that, the daughter of um Anna, the daughter of Zebulon, Zebulon, the Hivite, and we warred against the Hittite and the Hivite, and kicked their ass, and we're gonna kick their ass again. So you Edomites are closer to Africans than we are, man. Jumping in the air, you know, standing under the goddamn cow eye shit on your head and all this old crazy. That's shit that your folk family did. It say Beth in Bashemeth, Ishmael Ishmael's daughter, sister of Nebjoah. It say, and this just going through the names of Esau's daughter, wives. It say, and a whole Baham. Forgive me, y'all see that name? Don't make me try to read this shit. Bear, Jeshu, and Jalem, and Korah. It say these are the sons of Esau which are born unto him in the land of Canaan. There was a couple of Edom sons. These are the founding fathers of Esau, Edom. You Edomites today. And saying Esau took his wives and his sons and his daughters and all the person of his house and his cattle and all of his beasts. Yeah, going to show you that he went and started a big happy family, man. You motherfuckers who occupying the earth right now and ruling the earth. It say in beasts and all his substance which he had gotten in the land of Canaan, and went into the country from the face of his brother Jacob. It say, and there were riches. All right, jumping down to verse 8. It say, this dwelt Esau in Mount Seir. And this is where Esau came from, not the Caucasus Mountains, man. Esau came from Seir, Mount Seir. It say Esau is Edom. It say these are the generations of Esau, the father of the Edomites, in Mount Seir. Same way all the other nations had a progenitor and it had a rundown, like You can't go into the Rothschilds and try to link them to Shield of Edom and all this, and not link so-called white people to the Edomites. So I want to see what he gonna say. I'm probably gonna watch the rest of this video. Cause of Amos, I'm trying to see what Amalek come up. Cause Amalek is like, I think Amalek was a grandson, nephew, or some shit. I don't think he was a direct. There you go. All right, let me read some of these. This verse 10. They say these are the names of Esau's son. Eliphaz, the son of Adah, Ada, the wife of Esau, Ruhel, the son of Beshemath, the wife of Esau, and the son of uh, Eliphaz were Teman, though we call them German Edomites, the Temanites, you know, because those were the wisest of those devils, man. That's who the ones who, the Lord put the spirit on to create that nuclear missile, man. It say Omar, Zepho, and Gatham, and Ken, Ken, Kenza, Kenis, Kenaz, how do you say that? And Timnah was concubine to Eliphaz, son of Esau, and she bare to Eliphaz Amalek. You see, Amalek was the grandson of Edom. You know, he wasn't a direct son; he was a grandson. You see, these were the sons of Abda, Esau's wife. But Amalek ultimately is that chief tribe, and the top hated of the Edomites. The Lord don't fuck with Edom, period, but he definitely don't fuck with them Amalekites. You know, that was all I wanted really on that. Just going to show you that it's a nation of people that's ruling the earth today. You so-called white people, y'all are the Edomites, man. Too bad freaking fucking sorry for you, man. Lord willing, ain't all over the place. Yeah, because the Lord made this declaration with Amalek. This the book of Exodus, chapter 17 and verse 16. It say, for he said, because the Lord have sworn that it's Exodus 17, Exodus chapter 17, verse 16. It say, for he said, because the Lord have sworn that the Lord will have war with Amalek from generation to generation. That's why Amalekites will never find no peace. That's why this earth is filled with war. Because ultimately the Lord warned against these devils and sending uprising and keeping peace and keeping their hands from peace. Because the Lord got a controversy with you niggas, man. You'll never bring peace on earth. You ain't gonna never fulfill your new word order. You ain't gonna never do nothing good. You just gonna only thing you gonna do is go into captivity, man. You know, and we gonna drag you hard in the dirt, man. And we gonna keep that proud ass spirit on you, Edomite, through the spirit of power, Yahweh by Hashem Yahweh Shai. That old, thank you, you know, 1785 spirit on. We gonna keep that, that 1760, 1750 spirit on you fucking devils, man. That 1692 spirit when this devil sailed the ocean blue, We're gonna put that spirit on you fucking devils, man. You know? Why are you in the kingdom? So you gonna think you goddamn better than us? We gonna be fucking you devils up, man. Same way you fuck us up. Y'all, you devils, y'all be fucking us up, man. And we know, and been saying before the EFs came out, man. You know, we've been saying through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai, starting with the apostles and the elders on down to his younger brothers. But even when we, some of us younger brothers came, we was reiterating what was taught by the apostles. What's being commonly talked about now, the prophets been saying these things. But do the prophets get any credit? Hell no. Nah, these people act like they come up with all this knowledge of their own, just research every, they ain't got no, especially when you linking stuff with the script, they ain't get no, um, none of their teachings from the Israelites. These people bought and paid for, and they doing it to gather up people amongst, people to listen and watch them. Like they got some deep knowledge that they gathered and collected on their own, like the Lord just dealing with them. No, man. Pull this nigga back up. These people bite the prophets, which we don't give a damn. Because at the end of the day, you still ain't going to be delivered for doing it. You ain't going to be delivered for acting like you came up with this on your own and not giving cadence. And, like, yeah, the Hebrew Israelites, the so-called the people who they call the black Hebrew Israelites, they are the true Israelites, And this is where I learned this information from. Nah.
Kind of dipped out, right? That there's been this whole history
Like you.
of Bible and all of humanity was part of it, and then we've kind of dipped out of it for a while, and then we'll dip back into it. And that's just not true. Everything that started back at the beginning is continuing right now and plays a part in these last days. He declares
Yeah, so when by him saying that, then America got to be mentioned in the Bible. Which I'm not saying he don't believe that, because you got certain Christian Edomites who believe that America is Babylon the Great. But who would be ruling Babylon? Edom, Idumea. And who runs America? These Edomites. Who live it up here? So-called white people. Generations above us had us in slavery. You try to get the link and everything with scriptures and looking at what the scriptures actually say, and this guy is going deep. This is kind of this deep for a Christian, because Christianity, they don't go this deep. They don't go into things of this nature. Goddamn devils. They don't go into the scriptures, especially no damn black churches. They don't know nothing about nothing he talking about. You know.
end from the beginning. So if you want to understand prophecy better, I highly encourage you to begin reading the book of Genesis, and especially just understanding these various nations that were created after the flood. No,
You want to get a good understanding of what's going on, is listen to the prophet. That's all you gotta do. Because shit, you can't read. That's the problem. People think they can just read and understand. Nah, you need somebody to guide you, teach you, like it say in the New Testament. You know, Simon the Ethiopian, roughly paraphrasing, Ethiopian eunuch, and Simon got to the eunuch when he was reading the scrolls, and he said, "Understand what thou readest, man." And he say, "How can I let some man guide me, teach me this? I understand something, but I don't understand what is it saying. What do this mean?"
Noah and his three sons, that they created what's called the Table of Nations in Genesis 20. And if you want to understand the last days and end times prophecy, you have to understand.
And all those nations still here. The scriptures speak about there's no end to all the people, man. You know, all the nations are still here, just under different names, such as Asian and Japanese. You know, African, white, black. You know, Indian, Iranian, and not Israelite, Arab. You know, Hawaiian.
Understand those guys. In fact, the Edomites and the Canaanites are in the last days prophecies in Zechariah, in Obadiah, in Daniel. They're all over the place in the last days prophecies. And if you don't know these bloodlines, and if you don't know who these nations and people groups are, you're going to be pretty confused as we dive in. You're going to hear Rothschild's Shield of Edom, and you're not really going to understand the significance of that. Why these people have been around for so long, why they're so powerful, why they're so influential, why they're so...
Go no further. Just me adding to what he's saying. Why, if you want to know why, go to Job chapter 9, verse 24. The earth was given into the hands of the wicked. He covered the faces of the judges thereof. If not, where then who is he? You know, what that is, Psalm 19. We're going to Esau as being the sword of the Lord. There's no bands in his death. You know, when he died, he born rich again. So these people living it up. They had the fatness of the earth.
Rich, and why they're the shield, the defenders of the Edomites. Very important stuff. If that sounds interesting to you, say amen. Amen. Those of you joining us online and in person, thank you so much for being here. If you're online, make sure you like this video, share it with your friends, comment below anything that you learned, anything that you wanted to share, any other information that you might have. We really appreciate interacting with you. All the new subscribers, so glad that you're here. If you haven't subscribed yet, make sure you hit the subscribe button and smash the bell icon so you receive a notification anytime we post something new. Really glad that each one of you have joined us. And if you'd like to give and support this ministry, you can text the word give to 386-753-7337. We're so grateful for your one-time and monthly contributions, and we are just eager to continue preaching the truth. If you appreciate these words that are being preached to you, we certainly appreciate your generosity.
Man, trying to say some shit. You ain't preaching no damn truth. You ain't called on the name of the Lord. You ain't saying that so-called white people are Edomites. You ain't saying that the so-called Negroes are the Israelites. Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans predominantly make up the Israelites. You ain't saying that. You ain't teaching no fucking truth. And you fucking people finna be sadly mistaken. When the Lord comes, shall he find faith in the earth? We gonna keep reiterating it. Because all you people think y'all got the truth and think y'all got the understanding and think y'all gonna, weather this storm in the blood through the blood of Jesus. Your ain't gonna be sadly mistaken. You're gonna be let down, man.
Well, really, if you go back several months, there was Synagogue of Satan. That was really the first one. And that was after Charlie's murder, and it seemed very clear that Israel played a major role in that assassination, very similar to President John F. Kennedy. And so after talking about that,
Yeah, I feel like he on the tip. The small hats are Edomites, and not all white people. No, all you white people are Edomites. The small heads, they just one tribe, the tribe of Amalek.
my family got attacked by Ben Shapiro very shortly after that sermon, and some videos I started to put out about Zionism. And after overcoming that attack, just realized, oh man, we've got to keep talking about this because the Epstein files have come out. And obviously they're heavily redacted, but one of the emails said to Epstein, war between Jews and non-Jews, Jews presently winning. So they revealed to a lot of people that there's this Jewish supremacy that's occurring, and that there's this synagogue of Satan that's operating in the earth right now. And I, in these recent sermons, have wanted to help you understand who this synagogue is so that you're better equipped for the things that are to come. So in these prior sermons, we talked about the synagogue of Satan, and you actually find the synagogue of Satan in Revelation chapter 2 and chapter 3. And if you understand the first 3 chapters of Revelation, maybe you've never heard this before, those churches are not the only 7 churches in existence when John writes Revelation, but they are a sequential number of churches on a Roman postal route. Okay, a lot of people don't understand that. And it's believed by many, including myself, that those 7 churches represent 7 periods of church history, starting with the very first church, the early church, and that they progressively continue on all the way up to the 7th church, which is the last church on earth before Jesus Christ returns. Okay, so in Revelation 2,
No. The 7 churches were actual what places where Israelites was in Asia Minor, man, in Turkey, in that land, man. So people not know, no, you know. But whatever, man. He so bullshit with this Christianity, But he know more than a Baptist nigga.
we are introduced to the synagogue of Satan, and then in Revelation 3, which is the last church, which is the church of Laodicea, that last church, are you listening? That church, that self-governed, lukewarm church, has to deal with the synagogue of Satan again. Let's go to Revelation chapter 3, verse 9. I want to look at this together with you. I think this will bless you. But this is what our...
We link the small heads through these scriptures, but we know when you go into the Lord was talking. I mean, they were talking to Israelites, the chief priests and the rulers, these different wicked men, the scribes and Pharisees and things, ruling in Moses' seat, ruling in Jerusalem, you know, but basically sold out to Rome, but faking the funk. But we do equate it with the small hats because they doing it in this day and age we living in, saying they the Israelites, but they doing all these odious works of witchcraft, man. You know,
of our primary text to understanding what's going on today. And if you can't understand this, you're going to have a hard time with end times prophecy. You're going to be well deceived by this synagogue of Satan that's operating on earth. Revelation chapter 3, verse 9. Behold, I will cause those of the synagogue of Satan who say that they are Jews and are not but lie. Okay? Key understanding of the synagogue of Satan is that they say they are Jews and are not but lie. They say they're Jews, they're not actually Jews, they're lying. And if you watched Epstein and the Canaanites, you learned
they call themselves Jewish. They call themselves Jewish, meaning what? The ish is a suffix, meaning pertain like kinda, sorta. You know, we kinda Jews, but we really ain't. We Hamites, for real, for real.
That the current group occupying Jerusalem are saying they are Jews, but they are not Jews. They are lying. Just like Jesus said, they would be an end times major component, a major force of evil in the last days. They're absolutely operating today. Who say that they are Jews and are not, but lie. I will make them come and bow down at your feet and make them know that I have loved you. So the end result.
And that's what the Lord finna do with all the he first and foremost, yeah, you can say the chief of Edom, but the chief of all these niggas, all these kings of the earth, they gonna some way escape for the most part. Probably not all, but some way they gonna escape, and they gonna be the first fruits of slavery, especially all these Edomites, the Rothschilds, the Rockefellers, these banking families. They ain't going head first into captivity, man. They ain't never worked a day in their life, but they first day in that we gonna work the goddamn, we gonna work them red. Literally, they gonna like a goddamn like the devil himself, man. The fictitious devil gonna be red, man.
Of all of this is that Jesus will make them come, bow down at the Christians and at true Israel's feet, and admit that Jesus is Lord, right? Because every knee will bow. And
yeah, and, true Christians. The only way you can be a true Christian, truly Christ-like, be a real believer, a real worshiper and server of the Lord, and the Lord to be really devil, you have to be an Israelite. You can't be a Hamite Christian. These are the Christians were Israelites, man.
confess that he is Lord, and also that he loves us and has loved us this whole time. Go to 1 John.
No, not no us. The Bible was written to the Israelites. When he said us, he was talking to his brothers, his family. Not everybody in the fucking earth, you know. You gotta get it right, Edom. Well, they do, Mike. He could be a Jake, but he could be an Edomite too. I don't fucking know. But he looked like an Edomite, so I'm calling him Edomite.
John chapter 2, verse 22. I'm just recapping. We're not staying focused on these points, but want to relay the foundation in case there's anybody listening who didn't hear the other sermons. Verse 22. Who is the liar but the one who denies that Jesus is the Christ? This is the Antichrist, the one who denies the Father and the Son. Whoever denies the Son does not have the Father.
Yeah, so that's just the average ordinary nigga on earth, man. Person throughout the earth. You know? They are the Antichrist.
The one who confesses the Son has the Father also. Okay.
And the Son ain't Jesus. That's an idol. That nigga Jesus going to captivity, man.
Key understanding. Synagogue of Satan, they say they're Jews, they're not, they're lying. Is that clear? Yeah. Okay, another key understanding. Anybody who denies the Son doesn't have the Father. So all these Talmudic Jews, all these people who say, oh, we worship the same God, liars. No, we don't.
That's a good point, because those small heads, they don't believe that the Son came, the Messiah came. They waiting on the Messiah, you know. And they don't believe, so they don't believe in that. They don't believe in the Son, so they can't have the Father. But that's just the average, ordinary person in the earth as well, you know. Because this guy is a Christian. Don't get it twisted. Just because he's going into, Rothschild and all that, this nigga is a Christian, and he believes that all people can be saved, and that's far beyond the truth. All people cannot be. All people will and ain't gonna be delivered in the times to come. The Lord only gonna deliver his elect, and the only elect are the Israelites. The Lord ain't gonna protect, ain't gonna be with no heathen. You know, the Lord ain't gonna be coming through making sure the heathens ate and all when all hit. No, people finna be catching pure hell, man. The Lord only gonna take care of His people. Simple as that. And not all His people, only the elect of His people. Everybody else is gonna be without protection.
If you deny the Son, you do not have the Father. We do not worship the same God. And Jesus makes very clear in John 8 that they are worshiping the devil. Go to John chapter 8, verse 42. And again, like I said, we're breezing through these ones because we've already preached on these particular passages. John 8, verse 42, Jesus said to them, "If God were your Father, you would love me, for I proceeded forth and have come from God. For I have not even come on my own initiative, but He sent me. Why do you not understand what I am saying? It is because you cannot hear my word." Verse 44, tell me if this sounds like Epstein and the cabal to you. Verse 44, you are of your father the devil, and you want to do the desires of your father. He was a murderer from the beginning and does not stand in the truth, because there is no truth in him. Whenever he speaks a lie, he speaks from his own nature, for he is a liar and the father of lies.
You know, and which this is talking about, it's talking about Israelites. Because you Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, your father is Esau Edom. You know, you made this man a father figure over you. This who you follow, this who you worship. This nigga was a liar and a murderer from the beginning. This nigga don't abode in the truth, man. You know? And all devil mean is Diablo, deceiver. You know, you people, the people of the world are the devil. Knowingly or unknowingly, man. And we here to pull down the strongholds, you know, cast off the, you know, open the eyes of the blind and, you know, warn our people that, hold up, we the Israelites, we those people, you know, stop following after this devil, you know, put this nigga ways off, cast this nigga off. Nah, but what our people want to do, they want to keep on following after this man. They are they father the devil. And the lust of their father are they doing.
Now, if you've ever spent any time in the Talmud, you know that the Talmud actually teaches a lot of evil things, okay? One of those evil things is that the Talmudic Jew is allowed to lie to the Goyim that do not keep the Noahide laws. They're allowed to lie to you. They're absolutely allowed to lie to you, okay? And so Jesus says, you're of your father the devil. He's a murderer. What was Epstein and the cabal doing? What are they still doing? Murdering and lying. Well, what is the...
Yeah, because they Edomites. The border of wickedness. And the people whom the Lord have indignation forever. You Edomites are the border of wickedness. When Alexander died, his all of his men put crowns on themselves, and wickedness was multiplied in the earth. You damn Edomites. You are a cancer in the earth, man. That's multiplying rapidly. I mean, that's infecting the body rapidly.
Talmud say it's okay to lie. It also says a lot of other sick things that we read in the Epstein and the Canaanites sermon, such as that 3 years old in a day is the age of consent, and that's when a girl can get married. That's disgusting, and that she's betrothed through...
This nigga is the devil. See, you got niggas holler about, oh, they rapists and all this old dumb shit, but Esau, you know, when we just tell the truth of the matter, when any mammal, when any creature hit the age of being able to get pregnant, that mean they adult, and right away do they get pregnant. If you let a dog or any animal come in heat or whatever, not just because they young, that don't mean they'll mate. They still mate and bring forth seed like the Lord told them to do. You know, sex ain't this goddamn demonic thing or nothing like that. It's just a reproduction. It's a thing of reproducing in the earth. And A woman had the healthiest kids between the ages of 12 and 18. This is scientific fact. Salaki. I'm gonna just close it out and keep saying I ain't got stored. So let me finish. I mean, just close it out and see this.
Such as that 3 years old in a day is the age of consent, and that's when a girl can get married. That's disgusting, and that she's betrothed through intercourse.
That's very demonic because she nowhere near the flower age. That basically is a fucking pedophilia, molestation. You know, at 3 years old, you can't have no baby. You don't supposed to. You know, what are we talking about here? You know, but these devils they change laws and write grievousness which they prescribe, and the Lord is letting them rank up their sins. So when He judge them and punish Amalek and Edom, it ain't gonna be no. Oh, I ain't no. Your judgment is gonna be well worth it. That's why ain't nobody gonna feel sorry for you, man. All the wickedness you doing in the earth, you know. And that Epstein shit just an inkling of what really go on, man. Epstein ain't have goddamn 400 million. He wasn't trafficking 400 million women, little girls, kids, all these kids that go missing. He ain't get his hands on every last one of them. You know, he just had an operation going. There's many operations amongst these Edomites, man, doing this wicked shit and practicing all this witchcraft and shit.
So we cover.
And all you, I'm gonna just leave that alone. But that's for I'd say that for another video. But Lord willing, this was edifying to the point, you know, not too confused. And I want to end it giving all and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rakakodash, double honors to the apostles and the elders, great millstone, rule well. Being the great example to his younger brothers in the truth, peace and blessing to the hopeful lit. If you want to go watch the video, his video, you know, it's Rich Tide Well, Tit Well, however you say that. But I'm gonna watch some more tomorrow and see who he say the Edomites are.